Tour is underway. You can see the pressure on. Riders battle to just hang on. Is she going to take it? Yes, she is.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 AJ Bell Women's Tour. Now, after a COVID hit 2020, it is so good to see the elite of the peloton back here on British roads for a race that is widely regarded as the pinnacle of women's cycling. And Lizzie Dykeman joins me now. I can't go any further without asking you about the weekend. Of course, you made history winning the first ever women's Paris-Roubaix. I'm still buzzing, as you can tell, from just watching, so I can only imagine your emotions.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of still processing it because we won Paris-Roubaix and the next thing we're in the shower, in the car, on the Channel Tunnel, and here we are in the UK and we're already ready for another bike race. So it's just been a crazy whirlwind and I am pretty tired, yeah, I can't deny that.
I'm not surprised. It's been quite a quick turnaround from the Roubaix showers, of course. But how exciting is it to be back on British roads? Of course, you won this edition of the race back in 2019.
Really good, yeah. I'm really delighted that, you know, this race hasn't kind of disappeared because of the pandemic. I'm glad that the work has been put in and it's been a postponement rather than a cancellation. We're all really grateful to everybody behind the scenes who's made that happen, and yeah, it's one of the most prestigious stage races we have on the calendar, so I'm very happy to be here.
And it is important, isn't it? It's done such great work over the previous editions already.
Yeah, it's, like I say, really prestigious now. I think for such a young race to be so prestigious amongst the peloton shows that it is a great race to be part of. It's one of the most professional races that we have, and I think the peloton really takes it seriously.
Indeed. Before we go any further, let's take a closer look at exactly what lies ahead in the coming 6 stages. The first stage in Oxfordshire kicks off in Bicester and finishes in Banbury. The riders head to the Black Country town of Walsall for stage 2, and then Atherstone hosts the first individual time trial in the history of the Women's Tour. Then it's off to the Essex coast for 2 stages, Shoeburyness to Southend, followed by Colchester to Clacton. The race comes to its conclusion in Suffolk, heading from Haverhill to the finish line in Felixstowe. Great to see the 6 stages that lie ahead. How closely have you checked out the route? As I say, you've come fresh from Roubaix.
Yeah, obviously there's a huge amount of recon and work that goes into Roubaix, and you kind of switch focus straight away to this race, but we have had chance. I mean, we have fantastic road books and stuff. Things like that at the organisation do make a really big difference. There are detailed descriptions of the stages. We don't always get that, and we have that here and we've made the most of it.
Who are the other biggest challengers to your title?
I think it's a really wide open race, actually. The time trial in the middle makes it really interesting, and obviously the bonus seconds as well. So we're a little bit disappointed that we don't have Ellen van Dijk here, because she would have done a storming TT and that could have potentially set up our GC prospects. So I think we will now look at the race day by day and see what happens.
Let's hear now from some of those key protagonists.
You look at the lineup and it's pretty incredible, really. There's lots of really big names here, and yeah, I think it's all to play for. I think it's stages and also across the whole race, it's pretty open. The time trial stage will play a big part in it. So I imagine that I will be, in there for GC potentially, and so to race hard on Wednesday and hopefully get some good results.
For our team, it's our first World Tour stage race, so it's going to be quite a big experience, and I think we're just looking to soak up all the atmosphere and experience, and yeah, I think the World Tour teams will know how to play the race out. Yeah.
I'm lucky to be British, racing on British roads, and that's going to give me a lot of morale, even maybe with some tired head and legs at the end of the season. But yeah, racing past my first primary school and the house I grew up in is going to be really cool on stage 1. We've got a small team after some injuries in the rest of the team, so we're going to have to kind of play a bit with other teams.
My body's definitely very sore after Roubaix, but I don't think I'm the only one, so it's really hard to predict women's racing at the moment, and I think we're in a really exciting period. It's awesome to be back. Really love this race. It's always so well organised and well received from the towns and all the local people and schools and stuff, so I'm very excited, and today looks like it's an awesome day, which is a nice change from Roubaix.
Of course, you're a massive home favourite. How nice is it to come back here and see all of your fans lining the road, and this morning as well?
Yeah, it's really special to be able to come home and actually bring the cobble of Paris-Roubaix home with me and give it to my parents, and then for them to enjoy a race like this is really special. You know, I don't have many opportunities where I get to see my family. It's been a difficult time because of the pandemic, you know, and to all be here and all celebrate together is really nice.
Let's now take a close look at exactly what lies ahead for stage 1. From Bicester, the route turns south, passing through the city of Oxford before heading towards the first iceberg sprint at Culham. The first Skoda Queen of the Mountains points are on offer at Iron Down Hill. There's a Cat 2 climb at Sibford Ferris before the race passes through Banbury en route to the sprint at Bloxham. The route loops back for a second climb at Sibford Ferris, and then it's back to Banbury for the finish. The historic market town of Bicester is 51 miles from both London and Birmingham, and is one of the fastest growing towns in the county. In 2016, Bicester was named an NHS Healthy New Town, and an important element of the Healthy Bicester Partnership is to encourage active travel within the community. Banbury is an attractive and thriving market town in North Oxfordshire, made famous by a nursery rhyme Banbury Cross, and the nearby Fine Lady on a White Horse statue continue to attract huge numbers of visitors. The town offers plenty of retail opportunities with street markets, a shopping mall, and the atmospheric lanes of the old town. I'll let you go very shortly because I know you need to go and sign on, but what are your final thoughts on how today might play out on the road?
I think today is going to be an interesting race. I think there'll be a lot of tired legs out there, but then a lot of motivated women as well. It's a real opportunity today. I think we have the most elevation in today's race, so potentially it could already start the GC today. We'll see.
Lizzie, thanks so much. Great to chat and good luck out there on the road.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, 147.7 kilometres in the company of our commentators, Hannah Walker and Martin McDonald.
And here we are, 840 days we've waited, but the AJ Bell Women's Tour is ready to roll out from beautiful Bicester here for stage 1. Hannah, a lot of anticipation. We're ready to go.
Yeah, the riders are very, very much looking forward to this race. The teams, the crowds, the fans as well, and we're thrilled to have the race back on the roads.
The riders, just over 5.6 kilometres of neutralised section, just gives everyone just a chance to just settle the nerves. But it's the thing that the riders always talk about the Women's Tour is the crowds. And I think that's the word around the world within the peloton. It's what everyone comes here for.
The schools always go to so much effort, don't they, in supporting the teams. They are researching the teams. It's so fantastic to see the young children come out and be inspired, and I think that's the main point of having this throughout the week, and then one stage on the weekend.
So 16 teams, a lot of them fresh off a historic day at Paris-Roubaix at the weekend. LABTC Ljubljana with Marta Bastianelli, the British teams, Awal O'Shea, Cams Basso, Drops Lecole with Joss Loudon fresh off a new hour record as well. Live Racing, Movistar, both here with really strong teams.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it, to see the strength of the riders. You have Lizzie Deignan there from Trek Segafredo, the newly crowned world champion, Elisa Balsamo for Valcar Travel and Service as well. So a real host of riders. It's brilliant to see.
Park Hotel Valkenburg, watch out for Amber van der Hulst. SD Works, they're here, strength in depth. Damie Vollering, Chantal Vandenbroek Black, multiple stage winner as well amongst those 89 riders in that Luxembourg National Champions jersey. Christine Majerus, and our first kids out along the side. Day off from double maths again today.
Brilliant day. You'd always put your hand up for that, wouldn't you? Let's go and watch some professional cycling going past the school gates.
So the neutralised section, so just a lot of the time of the neutral zone, just a roll out to kilometre 0 before we get going. The Barnes sisters, you can see, Hannah and Alice Barnes. British champion Alice Barnes, watch out for that jersey today. Fast sprinter, going to be separated next year with Hannah going over to Uno X.
Of course, Hannah Barnes, already a stage victor back in 2015 here at the AJ Bell Women's Tour, and she's coming back into form. Great to see her recovered from her injury as well that she's been hampered by during this season.
We are almost ready for the off. There is kilometre 0, so we are off and racing. We always look for that flurry of attacks that normally comes quite soon after the flag is waved. So 3 Queen of the Mountains points, 2 intermediate sprints along the route today. And here's the first one. The team's now coming through to the front. Team Bike Exchange, FDJ and Hannah. Importantly, 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds on each of the intermediate sprints. 10, 6 and 4 on the line. And without a really hilly women's tour, these bonus sprints are becoming really, really important, and they will do as the week goes on.
It's going to be vital for anyone wanting to go for the overall general classification to make sure you're in the mix in these intermediate sprints and trying to go for the bonus seconds at the finish line as well. It could all come down to the very final stage, and especially with that time trial in there as well.
Janneke Ensing in that black, white and green jersey of Bike Exchange. It's getting washed away a little bit by FDJ. Clara Caponi sat second wheel here in the white and blue. Amy Peters in that red, white and blue Dutch national champions jersey on the far side, with Christine Majerus on her wheel. At the back, some of the AWOL O'Shea riders. This is a real baptism of fire for those riders coming into the World Tour, getting their first experience at this level. Tipco Silicon Valley Bank now moving up on the outside. You can just see Sarah Roy in that green, white and gold Australian national champions jersey. She's won 2 stages here in the past. Sarah Roy, fresh from Paris-Roubaix, fresh is the right word.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the riders still recovering, but Sarah Roy going on the left-hand side for Team Bike Exchange. She wants to try and collect those points and to try and go into the lead. And
Nina Kessler on the outside. Clara Caponi is there as well. Sarah Roy, long drawn out sprint here, but it's Nina Kessler of Tipco Silicon Valley Bank that tries to come through there, takes that one. Damie Vollering in that purple jersey there of Team SD Works gets herself up there, and Damie Vollering, super talented rider. What a season she is having. She could be a big favourite for this race. As it goes on, there's confirmation of your sprinter column. Nina Kessler takes it from Sarah Roy, and Damie Vollering 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds. Queen of the Mountains won, and it's Janneke Ensing of Team Bike Exchange now that is on the attack here, and she's got an advantage of 45 seconds. Janneke Ensing, always a really, really aggressive attacking rider.
she always likes to animate the race, doesn't she? And she always likes to try something, go long. And I think she would have hoped that she could have brought a couple of riders with her at this moment, but with that 45-second time gap and no real chase from behind, she just needs to pursue that, try and pick up points in the Queen of the Mountains as well.
Category 1 climb, this one, 6 points on offer at the top, and you can see now as the climb just starts to bite in now. Janneke Ensing has had a great career as a professional rider, up there second place in races such as the San Sebastian Classic. Just at the back here, some of the domestic riders, the AWOL O'Shea riders, as you said, a bit of a baptism of fire for them today. It's a real jump in level for some of them.
It is, but it's a huge learning opportunity for them, a great chance for them to try and see where they are at against some of the other continental and world tour teams. But you know, you never know once they get through this stage today how they'll gain in confidence for the remainder of the week.
And for them as well, British youngsters, they're in this peloton with our defending champion Lizzie Deignan, who's in here after making history at the weekend, and that's massive for them as well.
And the majority of the team are so young as well. It's a hugely inspirational to see what Lizzie Deignan achieved at the weekend in the inaugural Paris-Roubaix FAM.
Ensing at the front here for Team Bike Exchange, and a team that come into this race. They've got some real talent in the team as well. Tenielle Campbell from Trinidad and Tobago comes in with great form after a stage win in the Tour of the Ardèche. Ensing has been on the attack. Remember a breakaway for her in the Lotto Belgium Tour a little bit earlier on in the season. And for her, targeting the Queen of the Mountains jersey could be a really, really good objective for her this week. And
coming into the twilight of her career as well, she has already announced that she will retire at the end of the season. So wants to try and go out with some success, but also to use her fantastic form that she's got as well.
She's got a glimpse there of Elisa Longo-Borghini drifting to the back of the peloton, but Ensing at the front here. It's a fairly flat day, even though these little lumpy climbs. We look at it as one that could be a good day for the sprinters. Longo-Borghini, you can see there in that green, white and red jersey just towards the back podium at the weekend in Paris-Roubaix behind her teammate Lizzie Deignan. Ensing though for Bike Exchange. Got some of the Park Hotel Valkenburg riders just at the back here, just under the pressure. Kirsty Van Haften just trying to cling on to the back of the peloton. 6 points though on this first climb. It's good to get such big points early on in the stage for this competition if you can.
It certainly is. So we're seeing the damage being done and how stretched out the peloton is at the moment. The undulation of the British roads, we know how much they bite, and they really put the sting into the riders' legs when the race is full gas.
It's the one thing that people always talk about British roads and coming and racing here, you know, just how tough it is. You know, for the riders as well today, it's dry at the moment. There's a lot of them. They had fairly brutal conditions at Paris-Roubaix at the weekend.
They will. I think riders, teams, organisers, fans will be pleasantly surprised at the weather conditions.
Look at the pressure now through this section. The peloton all lined out here at the moment. So some real pressure on the front of this one. A lot of teams, even though we're early on in the stage here at the Queen of the Mountains, those teams that feel that they want to keep this within a bunch sprint today, they're not going to want to let breakaways go too far up the road. We've seen it a lot in races recently, haven't we? That, you know, breakaways have managed to trick the peloton and managed to stay away to the finish, and they can just see her in the distance.
They can, and that provides that motivation for those teams. With only 16 teams on the start line and with only 89 riders in the peloton, you can't rely on other teams to help you do the work to bring it back. So teams, they need to make sure that they keep Janneke Ensing. They know how good and how strong she is, and you're just starting to see that pressure. The elastic is about to snap as around 20 riders are just being curtailed off the back.
Janneke Ensing, though, looking for maximum points over the first climb of the Queen of the Mountains of the day with 59.2 to go. She takes that. We'll look back down the road here. It's the Canadian national champion here of Alison Jackson that comes through. Demi Vollering, very vigilant as well. Demi Vollering, and the French national champion of Evita Musique right on the back there.
Evita Musique is a really exciting talent, isn't she? French champion, the way she won that, and a really exciting prospect for French cycling.
Yes, it's second in the Best Young Riders classification in the Women's World Tour. This is your confirmation. So Janneke Ensing takes 6 points ahead of Alison Jackson, who takes 5. Demi Vollering, very vigilant up there. Elise Chabet, Evita Musique, and then Anne Santesteban, the teammate of Ensing, leads the peloton over and takes 1 point. Heading towards Queen of the Mountains number 2. Two leaders, Chiara Consoni of Valcar Travel and Service and Femke Marcus of the Park Hotel of Valkenburg team. The first ascent of Sibford Ferris. They're going to do the next climb twice. 700 metres, average gradient of 5.9%. They'll run into the finish. They'll get that first view of the line. So it's a Category 2 climb. Two talented young riders away here. Chiara Consoni from Bergamo, fast sprinter. She's had a great season. Always a gutsy rider is Chiara Consoni. Few little spots of rain now on the camera lens.
She's a tremendous rider, and surprising to see her not sitting in the peloton and trying to break away, actually, because she's got such a great sprint on her. She's already won Muscron this year. She was up there in the Spa Diamond Tour as well. She's already a stage winner in the Bowls Ladies Tour. So for her to go out front, perhaps wanting to try and split this peloton up and to try and take a smaller group to the finish line, perhaps for their team leader Elisa Balsamo.
Do you think as well for the sprint, you know, in terms of that hierarchy of power within the team now, for Balsamo, newly crowned world champion, you know, for Chiara, maybe she's sort of sitting sort of second protected sprinter behind Balsamo, and the peloton, they've not got much of an advantage at the moment.
Perhaps it was always the plan all along. The majority of the climbs come in the back end of the stage, and with the undulation, perhaps Kira Consoni feels that she doesn't have fantastic legs. She wants to try and get over the climbs in a good position, give herself some sliding room, and make sure she's up there towards the finish to be able to lead out for Elisa Balsamo.
It's something we talk about as sprinters, isn't it? Give yourself a bit of drift room to get off the front, and then by the time you get to the top of the climb, if the peloton sweep you up, you're still, within the peloton, even if it's at the back.
Yeah, it means that you're not on the back foot chasing, doesn't it, for the remainder of the stage, and using up a lot of vital energy, that she can just have a bit of an easier, smoother ride up this Queen of the Mountain, and then sort of slot back into the peloton.
Femke Marcus out of the saddle there, 74 for Parker Tel Valkenburg, one of the Marcus sisters. Her sister Rihanna rides for Team Jumbo-Visma, two real talents in the peloton of the Marcus sisters. So this climb here, 3, 2 and 1 points. Consoni though sprinting for the top. So Chiara Consoni, you wouldn't expect anything less, so she takes maximum points ahead of Marcus as the rain just starts to fall.
You see, as soon as Kira Consoni makes that acceleration, her turn of speed, so it shows that the form is there, she has good legs, but for many riders, especially the British riders, they'll be loving this rain starting to fall. Elise Chabe in a battle there with Janneke Rensing for some points in the Queen of the Mountain, Marty.
And there's confirmation of the result. Consoni takes maximum points, Marcus second, and Elise Chabe, the Swiss rider for Canyon SRAM, takes third. A breakaway over the top though, Hannah, persisting with this one.
Yeah, they're trying to extend their advantage again, aren't they? And they've got great support here at the side of the road from the school children. Such a wonderful atmosphere for the riders to come through and be greeted by.
It's always been the thing that the riders take away from the women's tour, is the atmosphere. Heading into Banbury for the first time, and this for Hannah, for the sprinters, it gives them an opportunity to just get a sight, because it's quite a technical run in towards the line, and our lone leader here, Anna Christian, now has just got a small advantage over that peloton.
It's important, isn't it? And it's great for the teams and the riders to be able to see what the run into the finish looks like, whether it's going to be a bunch sprint, whether teams and riders think, do you know what, I know I can attack here, I can try and make a breakaway and go for a late one to take the stage victory.
Anna Christian of drops Lacole through the line, has a glance back over the shoulder. So the drops Lacole team had a strong season so far. 2 riders in the top 20 at Paris-Roubaix at the weekend, but 200 meters from that bottom corner up towards the line. Alison Jackson on the front here for Liv Racing. It will give the sprinters a real opportunity just to decide what gear they're in, because you can see it's just very slightly uphill here as well.
Yeah, also knowing your position on the road, where is the wind coming from as well, which is all plays into a vital part of this, and also the running of the final 5 kilometers.
Anna Christian just knocking out the tempo on the front. It's Team Bike Exchange though, in those white, black and celeste green jerseys, with Tibco Silicon Valley Bank there. And those blue jerseys on those bright yellow bikes that are coming through towards the front. Heading towards next, we've got one more Queen of the Mountains and 1 sprint to go here today. Do you see Anne Santesteban there as second in line, just grabbing the jersey and just talking into the radio. 1 kilometre to go to the next intermediate sprint of the day. So Nina Kessler took the first one ahead of Sarah Roy and Davy Vollering. So Kessler in those blue colours of Tibco Silicon Valley Bank there, just sat behind Abby Smith. And then you've got Sarah Roy right on the wheel now of Tenielle Campbell. Great lead out for Roy.
A brilliant lead out for Roy. You know, the turn of speed of Tenielle Campbell, and her stage victory at the Tour of Ardèche was fantastic. And I think for Roy, having Tenielle Campbell to lead her into this intermediate sprint and have her pilot her through, and having that turn of speed is going to be vital to try and add points and, more importantly, the bonus seconds.
So Bike Exchange, Santesteban winding it up now on the front, and this is a great opportunity to see just how important these intermediate sprints are going to come throughout this race. So those 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds as Tenielle Campbell of Trinidad and Tobago now on the front. As Hannah said, recent stage win in the Tour of the Ardèche, looking to pilot now Sarah Roy, the Australian national champion, to another bonus sprint win here. Campbell, such a talent, swings off the front now, but Kessler on the front for Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. Roy is there, Alison Jackson comes up as well, but Kessler on great sprint form here today. Nina Kessler takes the second sprint of the day, and importantly, she's targeting that Iceberg Sprints jersey as well.
A fantastic ride here from Nina Kessler, another rider who's had a season which has been marred through injury and illness, and great to see the form coming through at the back end of the season.
There's confirmation of your result. Nina Kessler takes 3 seconds, Alison Jackson 2, Sarah Roy takes 1. Are they going to carry on with this one? Can we get a breakaway now? We have one more climb to go for the Queen of the Mountains at Sibford Ferris. Some big names, though, getting towards the front. We are heading towards 20 kilometres to go. The peloton all together as we head towards the final Queen of the Mountains point of the day, the Category 2 ascent of Sibford Ferris for the second time. 700 metres in length, average gradient of 5.9%. Yannicka Ensing taking the first Queen of the Mountains point, Chiara Consoni the second. As they head up towards the top, looks like Shayla Gutierrez now that's attacking, Liana Lippert right behind her, so big attacks now.
Yeah, Shayla Gutierrez trying to go for a long one to try and take the maximum points and potentially try and split this field up. This is the last time and last opportunity to really split the peloton. She's a fast rider come the finish line, but I think she doesn't want to take someone like Marta Bastianelli to the finish.
Vollering now makes a move. That style, Demi Vollering now. She looking for some points. She took third over the first Queen of the Mountains point of the day. Demi Vollering, winner of Liège-Bastogne-Liège and La Course this year. One of the biggest names in world cycling now. Looking for maximum points, but perhaps, Hannah, this is an opportunity for Vollering to try and get clear the top. 12.3 kilometres from the finish for Vollering. Can she get away?
Using it as a fantastic springboard, isn't she, to try and go away solo, perhaps take a small group with her, but just look at the damage that she's doing from behind with the peloton in one long line.
Short, sharp slopes here of Sibford Ferris. Vollering just stretching that gap. You can see Liana Lippert, Amy Peters, Joss Loudon coming up as well on those blue colours of Drops Lacole. Vollering goes over the top, takes maximum points there, but she's causing some damage in that peloton behind. The cracks are starting to open.
With less than 13 kilometres to go, really the teams, they need to start to organise the chase. They know how dangerous Demi Vollering is and they can't give her an inch on the road.
There's your confirmation. Vollering takes 3, Loudon and Lippert 2 and 1 points.
If my calculations are correct, Marty, I think that will put Demi Vollering into the lead of the Queen of the Mountains jersey.
Great to see all the kids out along the side enjoying the spectacle of the women's tour today.
We'll take a look how reduced the peloton is after the damage being done by Demi Vollering. You see now a group of 5 riders going clear after the attack over the top of the Queen of the Mountain.
And a really dangerous group. Some big names here. Elise Chabet on the front there in that galactic jersey from Canyon SRAM. Juliette Labousse in the black and blue colours of DSM. Soraya Paladin in the purple of Live Racing. And the teammate of Demi Vollering, Dutch national champion Amy Peters. And she loves this race.
This is a tremendous position for SD Works to be in. Amy Peters fresh off Paris-Roubaix on Saturday, but a rider who is so fast come the finish line. It works out perfectly. They could go for the stage victory here, but also give Demi Vollering enough time in the general classification.
Some big names now in this breakaway group. They've got to be careful now. The teams that have missed out on this one.
Trek Segafredo trying to bring things back and rein things back, sharing the workload with Valcar Travel and Service at the front, but they need to start to organise that chase sooner rather than later, because at the moment these 5 riders are working very well together. The cohesion is perfect.
Labousse, the French rider, in the middle there for Team DSM. Soraya Paladin on the back here. As we said, this is a dangerous move. Lizzie Deignan now moving up on the outside in the blue jersey there of Trek Segafredo, moving up towards the front. They're one of the teams now that have missed out on this breakaway group.
It's vital if they want to be in with a shout of trying to give Chloe Hoskin a stage victory today, but also staying in contention of the general classification, that Trek Segafredo reduce this gap here.
So racing through the beautiful Oxfordshire countryside today. The breakaway group, though, won't have an opportunity to look at this one. They're now looking to try and put some time into that peloton behind. Got to think back to Cassia Nubiadoma's overall victory when she went clear on stage one. Pretty much wrapped up the GC on the first stage when she won that in 2017.
We're seeing it more and more often, aren't we? A long-range breakaway can go clear. They can hold on for the general classification, whether that be in a stage race or even in one-day races, as we saw on Saturday.
The talent, though, in this breakaway group, we saw the two SD Works riders, Amy Peters and Damie Vollering. We talk about her. She's one of the most exciting talents in world cycling at the moment. Looking overall at the women's tour, because we look at that individual time trial that we've got to come on stage 3 as well. So if she can get some time there, we know how much she's been working on her time trialing this season.
It's important, isn't it, to make sure that if you are going for a general classification, that you're a well-rounded rider. You are able to be up there in bunch sprints, you're able to be up there on the hillier days, but also not lose any time or gain time, if possible, in the time trial.
Amy Peters, a couple of stage wins in her history in the women's tour. Elise Shabby there, third in line. This galactic jersey that we call it for Canyon SRAM. The Swiss rider outwitted Lizzie Deignan. Not many people do that to win a stage of her home tour in Tour de Suisse. Got to point out Lucy Kennedy on the back there, the shortest retirement in world cycling.
Yeah, fantastic to see her back in the peloton, retired after the Tour de Ardèche. 19 days I think the retirement lasted, and she's already back racing. We can't keep her away.
No. Can't keep a good rider down. Former winner of the San Sebastian Classic. So Lucy Kennedy, you see on the back there, the tall rider in the white, black and celeste blue colours of Team Bike Exchange. Back in the team struggling at the end of the season with rider numbers, illness and injuries and that kind of thing. So steps straight back into the mix for Team Bike Exchange. The aerial shot, though, of our breakaway group, you can see how well they're working together. It's going to be tough. 12.3 kilometres from the top of that final climb. Do you think it's just slightly too far out?
We're seeing that there is not too much impetus from the peloton. We only have Valcar Travel and Service and Trek Segafredo who are sharing that workload to try and bring these 5 riders back. But you see from the formation of the group of 5 out front, they are doing the through and off formation. The wind is coming from the right-hand side onto the right shoulder.
So you can see just how reduced the group are here, as Hayley Simmons there on the back for Cams Basso, number 81. Hayley Simmons, great time trialist. So great to see the British rider who's right down here in the mix in this one. But back up to our breakaway group, Shabby, such a powerful rider, the Canyon SRAM Swiss, former Swiss champion. Lauren Stevens here, the American national champion of Tibco Silicon Valley Bank, just gets herself back into that group. Valcar Travel and Service, though, we know what they can do in the lead out. They've got world champion Elisa Balsamo that they're trying to lead this sprint out for.
Ilaria Sanguinetti doing all the work on the front there for Valcar Travel and Service, and she is such a strong, powerful rider, such a fantastic domestique to have on your team, and will fully commit herself to try and bring these 5 riders back to be able to set up Elisa Balsamo for the finish. 5
kilometres to go. They've just gone past that marker now. Vollering really now drilling it on the front, trying to keep this breakaway group clear.
Here's a view of my summer home, Marty.
Nice to see how the other half live here in the commentary box. The peloton, though, now trying to set this one up for the finish. Lauren Stevens, again, could be a good rider overall. Good time trialist is Lauren Stevens.
Took the time trial stage at the Lotto Thüringen Ladies Tour a few years ago, which boosted her into the overall general classification. So there's a few dangerous riders still remaining in this peloton, although it is reduced.
Juliette Labousse as well, that rider in the breakaway group for Team DSM. Former French national time trial champion, represented France at the Olympic Games. And this time trial, the first individual time trial that we've got in day 3, it kind of hangs over the race in terms of the overall, the general classification.
It's a real telling point, isn't it? As you say, the first ever time trial in the AJ Bell Women's Tour. So it's a real shake-up. It means that those who are not necessarily strong sprinters to be up there and take the time bonuses on the finish line, it means that they can gain time in that time time trial, so it's a real uncertainty for these riders.
Inside 4 kilometers to go now, so the peloton are running out of meters now to try and bring back our breakaway group. But there's the aerial shot, and from the shot here, Hannah, it's very, very close.
It's very close. By my estimations, around 10 seconds that gap now to these 5 riders. So the work being done at the front from Valcar Travel and Service with Ilaria Sanguinetti and Trek Segafredo is paying dividends.
They've so impressed me over the last couple of seasons, the team in pink. They really now, they come to the front. I call them kind of the crazy berserkers of the lead outs. They're so good, very, very good at timing the lead outs for Elisa Balsamo. And Sanguinetti as well, such a strong sprinter in her own right.
Very much so, and they're really well drilled as a squad. They really back and go all in for one rider for the bunch sprint, and they all commit themselves 100%.
Our breakaway group, you can see they're still really fluid in working, but the peloton are right on them, so bearing down on them. The peloton want this to be a bunch sprint, and looking at this one, it's very technical, the run in. You've got that very tight right hand bend into the finish straight. It does look at the moment like it's going to come down to a bunch sprint as they go through 3 kilometers to go.
And let's not forget the roundabout that the peloton have to take on at around 1,200 meters to go, so it is quite technical. We have a few left and right turns as it meanders its way through into Banbury.
And how much do you think, for the riders, how much of a benefit, having seen that finish already, is that going to help in organising that lead out on the run in towards the finish?
It's huge. You know where you need to position yourself, which side of the road you'd like to take, where the wind is coming from, and having seen that final corner as well with around 300 metres to go until the finish line, gear selection is going to be paramount.
So looking at this one, our breakaway groups, SD Works into this race with such strength in numbers. Damie Vollering, though, still keeping the pressure super high on the front. It's Team FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine Futuroscope in those white and blue colours. They've got some fast sprinters, and LA BTC Ljubljana in those yellow and orange colours. Marta Bastianelli, their sprinter.
Well, take a look at this. The rider to make the junction and to do the final closing of the gap, the newly crowned world champion Elisa Balsamo of Valcar Travel and Service. So perhaps all in for Kira Consoni today.
Yeah, interesting one. It's great to see the world champion here wearing that rainbow jersey for the first time, and now 2 kilometers to go. And this is the point, Hannah, where the sprinters teams really need to get the lead outs organised. One of the best at this is Team DSM in that black jersey with the 2 blue stripes down the middle. Lorena Wiebes is their sprinter. They are so well drilled as a squad in the lead outs, and now you've got the Barnes sisters as well coming through to the front for Canyon SRAM.
Yeah, Hannah Barnes, the former British champion, with Alice Barnes, her sister, on the wheel. But for Team DSM, as you say, so well drilled into a bunch sprint, and Lorena Wiebes, one of the fastest sprinters at the moment.
The aerial shot here, and it's all about that kind of washing machine effect that you get on the run in. There's only so much road as well. You can see it will help that slightly reduced peloton, but DSM look like they've still got strength in numbers in this group. Amy Peters, despite being in the group, just getting up towards the front. Chloe Hosking, you can see here, sat second wheel in those blue colours of Trek Segafredo, right behind Balsamo.
There's a lot of riders who don't have any teammates to lead them out, so they're having to freelance their way through and surf the wheels from other teams going into this bunch sprint.
It's such a skill for a sprinter to be able to surf the wheels and work off all the other lead outs. The peloton splits round that roundabout, and they've come together. Big crash on the left there. It's taken down quite a few riders. Looking from that aerial shot there, Alison Jackson, I can see the Canadian champion, and they're already through the Flamme Rouge.
Well, a huge shame there for Alison Jackson, who's on tremendous form. Also, Valcar Travel and Service, after all the work they've done, they've been caught up with 2 of their riders as well.
Quite a few DSM jerseys down. You just see Leah Kirschman now from DSM trying to get this one organised. As we always say, we never speculate about anything. We'll update you when we get any kind of official reports on all our riders. We hope they're all right, but it's FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine on the front here. Clara Caponi, such a fast sprinter for that team, and we're getting in towards the technical sections now, Hannah.
And after that crash, we've got a split in the peloton, around 12 or 15 riders in that front group. Clara Caponi in a very strong position. She's one of the riders who's had a tremendous lead out into this final corner.
You got Chloe Hosking, second wheel, Leah Kirschman now, 200 metres to go. Clara Caponi, Marta Bastianelli also well up there. Damie Vollering is there, but Chloe Hosking now is the first rider to make a move. The Aussie for Trek Segafredo. Caponi right there on the wheel. Is it going to come down? But Marta Bastianelli at the last moment. Marta Bastianelli just punches a hole through that gap. Bastianelli, the Italian for LA BTC Ljubljana, times it to perfection and takes stage one. And it'll be second for Chloe Hosking, third for Clara Caponi, and then the Movistar rider Shayla Gutierrez takes fourth.
That was incredible, wasn't it, for Marta Bastianelli? They've come here with a reduced team of riders.
And let's just take you through this. So one side of the peloton went one way, and you just saw the way they came together there, Hannah, out of that roundabout. But that's always the danger, isn't it?
You have that coming together of the two sides of the roundabout. Kira Consoni, the rider, just touching shoulders as they make that junction, and they just had nowhere to go.
And Alison Jackson, the Canadian national champion, came into this race as a real pre-race favourite in that red and white jersey, has also gone down.
Looks like British champion Alice Barnes as well, who was coming up with a lot of speed, was also involved in that. Liana Lippert involved there, the silver medalist from the European Championships. 3 riders from Team DSM, Marty.
They were just getting that lead out organised, but right into the finish. Chloe Hosking on the front there for Trek Segafredo. Caponi of FDJ in those white and blue, but this is the moment. Look at the way Bastianelli just finds her way out. This is what she does best.
It is, the 34-year-old former world champion. She just finds that gap, showing her experience, and when the gap opened from Clara Caponi, she took it with both hands.
Confirmation of the result of stage one. Marta Bastianelli won it from Chloe Hosking and Clara Caponi. Shayla Gutierrez was 4th, Eleanor Cicchini 5th, and Hannah Barnes finished 6th. So Marta Bastianelli wins the opening stage of the 2021 AJ Bell Women's Tour. And she was back on the podium to receive the Sigma Sport points jersey. The first holder of the Skoda Queen of the Mountains green jersey is Damie Vollering of Team SD Works.
We did a lot of work today with the team, so it's nice that we have something for it. Of course, we wanted to win here, but yeah, that didn't happen.
Nina Kessler of Team Tipco Silicon Valley Bank leads the Iceberg Sprints competition.
We were in like a good position with my teammates, with Tanya and with Nicole, and it was like I can try to just go for it now, and it went really well.
But no doubt who the day belonged to, the leader of the AJ Bell Women's Tour after stage one is LABTC Ljubljana's Marta Bastianelli. In the general classification, Bastianelli has a 4-second advantage over Chloe Hosking and Nina Kessler. Clara Caponi is at 6 seconds, just ahead of Sarah Roy. Alison Jackson and Damie Vollering with a group of riders, including Hannah Barnes, at 10 seconds.
And our stage one winner joins me now. How was it out on the road today? A hectic first stage?
Yeah, it's very nice stage today. It's a very nice place and the people, and the finish for me is the maximum because arrive not too much rider, but there is this big crash. I am very sorry, and I hope all riders stay well. But okay, the cyclism it's this the rider and the race, and the final for me it's a maximum because I take the last corner in the 3 position, and it's very good sprint for me.
It certainly was the absolute perfect sprint. How much did the team have to control to make sure it came back to a bunch sprint?
Yeah, I am alone in the finish because now in the race we are only 4 riders for my teammate, and she helped me before the sprint, and in the final I arrange alone, stay in the wheel the best, and nothing. I arrive first and I am the maximum for me.
And 5th place at Paris-Roubaix on Saturday for you. You're looking fresh, surprisingly.
Not too much. The stage is very long. Now I wait tomorrow and another possible stage for me for a win again or for arrive in the best position.
And finally, how are the fans out there today?
yeah, there is too much, and it's very, very nice, and I like race in this place.
Marta, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for the chat.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with all the highlights from stage 2. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.